With the announcement by the government that they intend to reduce the school's financing budget by £3 billion by 2020, isn't it time that the schools started looking at a fresh way of managing their operating costs going forwards? Due to this cut of £3 billion by 2020, there is obviously a need for a lot of these long-standing institutions to be able to adjust their budgeting process. This is compounded with the fact that a lot of these academies and schools are going to be self-governing, with the government's drive to try and drive the majority of the schools into academy structures within the next 5 years. Unfortunately, from my experience, what I've seen is that a lot of the academies and some of the existing state schools work on the same foundations that they've always worked on, using the same buying groups, using the same ways of procurement, and looking at the operating costs in the same way. On the flip side, when working with schools that are open to change, we found a refreshing attitude towards operating costs. We find that the school organisation has opted out of the traditional ways of buying and has seen some fantastic opportunities to drive cost savings, which they can then use for the resource that they should be using on, which is school teaching. As the report stated, they believe that 60% of today's secondary schools are currently operating in deficit, buoyed up by the grants and monies input by the LEA. If the government is looking for a further £3 billion worth of budgeting cuts within the school system, I believe that by 2020 we will be faced with wholesale problems within the education system, where schools are unable to operate efficiently or effectively. If we looked at this in the commercial world, we would be looking at a cataclysmic amount of bankruptcies and insolvent businesses going on. Whilst I can never see this happening, I do believe it's the duty of all schools at this time to start looking afresh at their operating costs and how they're going to manage their budgets in the future.